If you knew me before, you wouldn't even look my way. If I had the nerve to speak, you wouldn't hear what I say. Time has come and gone so fast, we're not who we used to be.
And welcome back to Sullivan's Unheard Voices. I'm here with Ted. How'd you come up with the name Rock and Realtor, by the way?
So yeah, okay. So I've been playing music since I was just a kid. I think I started when I was about 13.
Uh-huh.
And rock and roll has always been my thing. If it rocks, I love it. I grew up listening to the Beatles. That was one of my dad's things. He absolutely loves the Beatles. So I grew up on them. And then of course the age of MTV, when MTV used to be cool and have actual music on
Right.
it, and started getting into the hard rock and the 80s glam rock and stuff like that. So anyway, I mean, I never grew out of my rock and roll phase. So in 2006, I get into the real estate business, and it just came to me one day several years ago. I'm like, I need a tagline or something that identifies me as a real estate agent and a rock and roll guy, playing rock music. So yeah, I mean, it just fit rock and realtor.
I love that.
Yeah. So funny story. It turns out actually, and I don't think he does it anymore. There is and was a rock and realtor on the East Coast who happened to be, I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but the original drummer for the Alice Cooper group. So over on the East Coast, like New England or someplace like that, doing like really high end real estate, and he was the rock and realtor. Well, I mean, that's all the way over on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I don't think he does it anymore anyway. But yeah, I found that out, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Hope
I
he
love
doesn't
that.
try to sue me or something.
Right?
So far, so good.
And I do want to preface this conversation with a couple of things, right?
Yeah.
Because I've seen you perform not only in the concert space, but also during the jam sessions.
Yeah.
And I have to commend you for your flexibility on stage. Like, because when I see you perform, especially in the jam sessions, when people come up and they want to play like this song or that song, your wealth of knowledge of rock and roll songs on the guitar is freaking phenomenal, man. Like taking it back, because you said you were 13 when you picked up.
Well, that's when I started playing guitar. I switched over to bass guitar when I was 18, I think, and that really kind of became my vibe, was bass.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And with the bass riffs that you have now, right, and the ability to sort of be flexible and like all of these songs, are these like the songs that you sort of grew up with, and then I guess the question is, like, how did you become so well versed in all of these musical themes? Because there's a lot of genres they play on stage.
Well, there is, and the thing is I have a very wide variety of different types of music that I like. I mean, most of it's rock based in one way, shape, or form. There are other genres that I enjoy. I enjoy some country. I enjoy some. I mean, if you were to go into my Spotify, likes playlist, you'd be shocked as to what I've got in there. I've got Barry Manilow in there. I love Barry Manilow. That came from my mom, God rest her soul. She was a Barry Manilow fan, and I remember growing up listening to Barry. I grew up in the 80s, so, I've got, Run DMC, and then Aerosmith, who, of course, did the Aerosmith Run DMC collaboration. And
Yeah.
I was into metal and all that kind of stuff. So I've got this variety of stuff that I just love. And as a bass player, as long as you know some, basic structures and scales, you can pivot pretty well.
I get that to a certain extent. At the same time, though, I've been through a lot of jam sessions. I've been through like a lot of concerts, and I've been through like a lot of shows. And one of the things that I appreciate about your style is how you can pick up the different counts on the different songs without missing a beat.
Oh, thank you.
Because some of the counts are really, especially with rock, some of them are kind of obscure.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it's just by accident.
Yeah,
Either just by accident, not necessarily by accident, but stroke of luck.
yeah.
Stroke of luck.
Do you remember
It's
the first?
patterns and you know.
Do you remember the first bass you picked up?
Yeah, the first bass I picked up was it was a Fender Precision Light, and yeah, I was about 18 years old, and so I had been playing six string, electric guitar in some pretty god awful punk bands, and so my first real long lived band was the Catholic Schoolgirls, which I don't know if you're at all familiar with what we did, but we started in the early '90s and we were doing kind of crossover metal punk sort of thing, which really kind of morphed later on in our existence to just straightforward hardcore punk. But anyway, so I bumped into Steve, our lead singer, and this was before I was in the band, and he came up to me and he knew that I played guitar. And he said, "Hey Ted, yeah, my band, the Catholic Schoolgirls, we're looking for a new member." I said, "Well, I play guitar." He said, "Well, we're looking for a bass player. Do you know any bass players?" I said, "No, but if I get a bass, I'll bet you I can learn."
I love that.
Yeah, so that's how that came about. They were looking for a bass player, not a guitar player. I got myself a bass. Off I went.
Now, how did you learn how to play bass? Was it like YouTube videos? Did you just kind of pick it up and just practice the heck out of it?
That's what it was. I mean, this was back in the early '90s. We had no
Yeah.
YouTube. I mean, as far as internet was concerned, we didn't learn anything off the internet because it took like an hour and a half to get anything, downloaded onto your computer anyway, if you even had that capability. So, yeah, it was just a matter of trial and error at that point. The notes on a bass, the string structure is the same. It's just two less strings on a bass guitar, and it's a much lower register being in the bass register. I will say that one of the things that gave me an upper hand on playing bass is very much a rhythm instrument.
Yeah.
And my brother was a drummer. And I grew up, in our childhood being in a couple of really lousy punk bands with him. They were fun, but we weren't any good. But I learned, how to play with a drummer in growing up with him. So it was pretty easy for me to make that switch to a rhythm-based instrument.
And I appreciate that because, like, one of the things that I stress on this podcast is just how complicated it is to get proficient in music. And some people have some innate talent and they can just pick up and play like they're freaking Joe Satriani. But
Yeah, no, I'm
most
not one of
people,
those.
yeah, most people, it takes a lot of time and effort.
Uh-huh.
And the amount of practice it takes to get show ready is a lot.
Yes.
And so, like, one of the things that I always like to ask, especially bass players, is when you're on stage, right, and you're sort of getting into the groove of things, are there times when you're relying on the drummer to keep count?
Yeah. I have always found for me, and I'll bet other bass players could back me up on this, drummers and bass players feed off each other. Definitely. And sometimes there's even those moments where it's like, you just feed off of each other so well that it's like, something really amazing happens in the middle of a show and you and the drummer just look at each other and you get this big old grin and then you totally lose focus. But anyway, it was really cool up until that point.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens.
But how important is that relationship?
Very.
And so, like, what's, I guess, so if you're talking about that relationship between drummer and bass player on stage, why is that important?
Ooh, okay. So If the rhythm's not there, you lose so much with the music if you don't have a good rhythm. And if you've got a bass player that's dragging behind the drummer, or vice versa, if you've got a bass player that's rushing and the drummer is a little bit behind, it ruins the feel, it ruins the vibe. It just is not as good. And I always jokingly say, I don't know that there's any reality to it, but my job as a bass player sometimes is to pay attention and reel in that drummer. If that drummer is, kind of starting to, rush a little bit, I can sometimes tell that, and in what I'm doing with my pace and my tempo, I can dial that back a little bit, and I'm sure a drummer can do that with a bass player when I start going off the rails.
And one of the things that I appreciate, especially seeing you play it a few times, is how you're able to do that without words.
Right.
Like that communication between a bass
Yeah.
player and a drummer
It's,
without words is
dude,
awesome.
it's telepathic.
Yeah.
It's totally telepathic or alien. I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that when you have this diverse group, especially like with the Raven Kings,
Uh,
the diverse music that you all put out there, it's really cool to see because you have those range of voices that can sing different songs based on different members of the band,
mhm.
and just so when you're on stage and you're going to perform as the Raven Kings, how much conversation is there about a set list before you take that stage?
So as far as set list goes, yeah, we always have a set list. Do we stick to it to a T? No, absolutely, we don't. What we do is, we kind of pay attention to the crowd, and we pay attention to what the crowd is enjoying and vibing on, and what they're not, and we kind of go off of that. We just read the audience. And if we're in the middle of a really good, say we've got a funk blues song going on that's got everybody, on the dance floor and hopping, and our next song that we have on the set list is something that's a little more schmaltzy and slow. If everybody's hopping, we might divert from that altogether, and we might just go into another, hop and dance song, and just keep people up there dancing, because people are obviously having fun at that point, and we don't want to stop the fun.
And I really appreciate that about your band too, because it's I always feel like there is this relationship between the band and the audience.
Hmm.
And when you have a band that can pick up what the audience feels and adjust, it makes for such more of an enjoyable show.
Hmm.
And I appreciate that you have that flexibility.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah.
And so, like when you're up on stage and you like see the show, like how much do you, as a musician, rely on the engagement of the audience to sort of dictate your show?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Okay, so we rely on it in the way that, yeah, it's going to dictate what we do with our set list from song to song, maybe. But honestly, I've been doing this long enough to know sometimes you're going to have a great crowd with tons of people showing up. Sometimes you're going to have two people showing up, and they're both employees of the venue. and
Yeah.
and here's the thing. My my opinion and my experience has shown me that when and if that happens, play like they're the most important two people in the house. They're the most important two people in the house, and give them the same show that you'd give 500 people.
And I appreciate you bring that up because I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, that also helps to build that muscle memory so that you don't have to rely on crowd size,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, between you and me, I love playing music. So for me, if there's two people or 500 people, I'm doing what I love to do. So I'm pretty certain that the rest of the people that I play with would feel the same. Hey, by the way, before I forget,
Yeah.
I got to tell you one of the recent jams that we did where I don't remember which jam was it? Well, a couple of months ago, you got up on stage with us and
Did
you sang,
Ozzy?
yeah, we did War
Yeah.
Pigs.
Yeah.
I got to say, that was so much flippin' fun. That was so awesome. You did so well with that, and it was just really, really cool, and I appreciated that you did that.
And that's the only Ozzy song I can pull off because usually his register is like
Uh-huh.
one note higher than I can get.
Yeah, yeah. War Pigs is a banger, man. It is a banger.
Yeah.
Oh man, God
And
bless Ozzy Osbourne.
and it's one of those songs that resonate with me personally because like I always talk about peace and
Yeah.
like the importance of peace
Oh
all
yeah.
across the board. And so it's like one of those songs that also hits me here. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And I appreciate that you have that flexibility, right? Because like before I went to the jam session with you all, I never even thought about getting on stage. You know,
Oh wow.
yeah, because like I haven't been on stage without karaoke
Hmm.
since I was like 16. I was in a band for like a minute, but I always struggled remembering the words.
Okay.
Always struggled remembering the words. And even during that performance, during the jam session, I still needed the refresher of the words along the way.
It's a lot of words.
And that's, yeah, but it's like, it's weird because like when I'm singing in the car, I have no problem. But you put me on the stage, it's like,
Well, you're on the spot and you're performing is what you're doing. Whether it be you're doing karaoke or you're doing a jam session or something like that, it's a performance in one way, shape, or form. There are people out there that are watching you,
yeah,
and it does a little bit to the nerves.
a lot bit, you know?
Sure.
Like I could do this podcast all day, but a show in front of a live studio
Uh-huh.
audience, like that's a game
Yeah.
changer.
Yeah. Doing a show like this, something goes wrong, you can go back and fix it. Something goes wrong on stage, you just gotta roll with it.
Keep going.
You gotta roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's warts in every performance.
So something I've always wanted to ask a bass player.
Okay.
Have you ever broken a string on stage?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. In fact, there's a really good reason that I always come prepared with at least two basses to every gig. Usually two, if it's going to be a particularly long one, like 4 sets or something like that, which we don't typically do. But if we're doing 4 sets, yeah, I'll bring three just in case. You never know. So it's been a long time since I've broken one on stage. I remember the last time. In fact, it's on video out there somewhere. It was one of the last gigs that Catholic schoolgirls actually did. It was roughly 2007, 2008, something like that. And the second song that we played is one of our most notable songs. It's called "Stand." It's a very anthemic sort of a rebel rouser sort of punk song, and I only had one bass with me because I never thought to bring two basses. It's punk. We had like 45-minute long sets.
Yeah.
It's not like we
Yeah.
played 4 sets. I mean, we didn't have enough music for that, and it was all fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we start playing "Stand," and everybody starts singing along to the chorus, and all of a sudden, boink,
Ah. Ah.
there's a string. Oh, great. So we stopped playing. And yeah, I took my bass and I put it off to the side and I come up to the mic and because we had a couple of opening acts with us. Oh God, who was it? I think it was maybe the Wrist Rockets. I think they're the one. Yeah, the Wrist Rockets. Their bass player loaned me their bass. I get up onto the mic. I'm like, does anybody have a bass I can borrow? I broke a string. So pretty sure it was the Wrist Rockets. He came to the rescue and handed me his bass, and we finished it up. Since then, always at least two basses.
And I love that about one of the things that I love about being around musicians and like being sort of a part of that music culture is just how supportive musicians are of one
Hmm.
another for the most part. And so, like, when you say stories like that, it's like I see it time and time again where, like, all kinds of musicians, like, hell yeah, you can use my bass. Like, come on, let's just make music happen. Because, like, one of
Yeah.
the things I have learned, it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about the music.
Yeah. Absolutely. If it's not about the music and it's not fun, why do it?
Yeah, yeah, because we're not making a crap ton of money doing it.
No.
Yeah,
No, I know musicians that have made good money doing it. I've never figured out how to do it. That's why I'm a real estate. That's why I'm dressed in a suit.
it's fair.
I was working all day, so yeah, I'm dressed in my my work uniform. So yeah,
I appreciate that though.
and if I just snorted into the mic, that was pretty funny. I'm pretty sure I caught myself snorting into the mic, and yeah,
We'll edit that out.
no, that's cool. Keep it in there, warts and all, whatever.
I love it. So when you picked up your first like bass and you're sort of like practicing and things like that, about how much time between when you picked up your bass and you realized I'm actually pretty good at this?
Um, I don't think it really actually took all that much time because, well, I mean, pretty good at it. I think it was more like sufficient enough
Right.
at that point
That's
because
fair.
they were looking for something quick. And what I did was I just kind of took what I knew from I wasn't much of a lead guitarist. I wasn't a diddly 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 soloist, you know, that sort of guitar player. I was more of you know, rhythm, power chords and stuff like that. And, you know, I mean,
Which kind of
basically,
translates well to bass.
well, yeah, and the way that I started was just essentially playing the root notes of the song without really getting into, you know, a lot of passing notes and adding color to it via bass, you know, that sort of thing. It was more like, you know, I was just kind of sticking with root notes and, you know, getting the rhythm right. And as long as I could do that, I figured, heck, I could do this. It's cool. And then along the way, started learning other techniques and scales and stuff.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
And so, like, did they give you like sheet music to go off of, or
No.
just, here's our song, listen to it and pick it up?
I don't read music.
See, that's kind of what I wanted to say.
I learned at one point, but I never put it into any practical use. So you know, it's all Greek. I
You and me
play by
both.
ear. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Just, you know, you know, okay, here's how the song goes. Here's the chord structure. Play that, and that's the way I did it.
And I don't think it's necessary for you to understand and really know how to read sheet music. I think as long as you are amazing at what you do, that should be good enough.
Reading sheet music is great if that's what you feel like you need to do. Is it necessary? No, not by any stretch at all.
And what would you say to people who are considering starting music?
Um, do it. Just do it. You know, I mean, get into every type of, you know, learn about the different types of instruments and how important they are to the music that you're playing. You know, and even, you know, if you're thinking about getting into, for example, playing guitar, get yourself a guitar. Don't worry about how much it costs. If you don't have enough money to buy yourself, you know, a really expensive high end guitar, who cares? Go get yourself an Epiphone or a Squire or something like that, which are made by they're offshoots of, you know, Gibson and Fender, respectively, and they're perfectly great. I have currently one of my favorite basses is a Squire Jaguar, which is modeled after the Fender Jaguar.
Is that the one you play when you're at the Ravens Jam?
No, I typically actually play on my Schecters at the Ravens Jam, but I really like my Squire, and that thing cost me like $200, $300, something like that. And it's a great bass, almost every bit as good as a Fender Jaguar, probably just as good. It just doesn't have the Fender name on it.
And I just well, the reason I bring it up is because I want people to know it doesn't matter what age, doesn't matter what sex or gender or any of
No.
that stuff. It's never too late to start in the music.
No, not in the least. You know, just get the instrument, practice your butt off. Today somebody getting into music today is going to have some advantages that I certainly didn't. YouTube.
Yeah, yeah,
Go to
yeah.
YouTube and you can find all kinds of great channels. In fact, not long ago, a couple of years ago, I started seeking out channels myself to learn different techniques, uh, and I'm glad I did, because I mean, I just in my spare time I'd watch these channels and I'd be like, I didn't know you could do that. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. Do you remember one of them or?
Nothing in particular, no.
Okay.
You mean a channel or a
Yeah.
technique?
No, a technique
No,
that you do now that you didn't
nothing,
do
nothing
like.
really. No, nothing in particular. Oh, although I did actually learn that, the pickup on a bass guitar is not actually to be used as a thumb rest, right? Like having your thumb there resting.
Right.
And I know a lot of people do that. So proper technique on that is to actually use whatever top string, or actually bottom string, the string closest to your upper end. Like the E string, for example. If I'm playing on the A string with my fingers, I'm a finger player. I'm not a pick player.
Yeah.
And what you'll do is you'll take your thumb and you'll rest it on whatever the next string up is, and that's to actually keep it from ringing out and vibrating.
Okay. Or picking up an accidental note.
Or if I move to the D string, then I'm going to rest my thumb on the A string, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that for decades I used the pickup as a thumb rest,
Yeah.
and a lot of people do that. There's really no right or wrong way.
But I also like appreciate that because like some people like are really passionate about whether or not they play with a pick. And I just like, to me, it's like, does the sound matter?
Oh, it's night and day difference.
Interesting.
And yeah, so and there's no right or wrong on it. Anybody that gets into that argument about, oh, you play with a pick, you need to play with your fingers, that's an age-old argument. Okay, talk to Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney plays
Right?
with a pick.
Yeah.
Okay, John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin plays with a pick. Well, on some songs, not all songs. Uh, uh, Bass player for the Clash plays with a pick, and you play however you need to play to fit the song that you're playing, and it gives it just a little bit more attack.
A little bit um, harder lines, right? If you
Yes,
will.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. For me, I found that I have an easier time hitting the quicker passing notes if I'm playing with my fingers, because instead of playing with a pick, I've got these two fingers that I'm working with, and I can move those a lot quicker.
And you can do notes at the same time that you couldn't necessarily do with the pick, right?
Yeah, I probably could if I really worked at it, but it's just for me
Yeah.
easier with my fingers.
And one of the things that I always talk to musicians about too is the muse, because I do believe that the muse is like a living, breathing thing.
Okay.
So when the muse visits you, like, what do you do to capture that? Like, do you keep a recorder by you? Do you like write down notes? Like, do songs come to you in the middle of the night?
You know, I'll tell you, I'll be the first to tell you I'm not much of a songwriter.
Hmm.
I'm honestly not much of a songwriter. What I do is when I'm working with original music, I work a lot better with, if I have somebody that is kind of the primary songwriter, and if they come up with a structure, usually with a guitar that they're working with, yeah, give me that structure, record it or something like that and send it to me, and I'll go ahead and follow it and I'll lay down a bass line to it. Yeah, I don't quite have the creativity to really be able to just from thin air pluck out a song.
I kind of get what you're saying. At the same time, though, I don't want to discredit your contribution in that environment because even just creating a bass line off of a guitar riff, like the whole concept of five human beings on different wavelengths, on different sort of paths, coming together and creating a song from start to finish. If you think about it holistically, it's an impossible endeavor.
Dude, it's magic.
Yeah. It's like the fact that it actually comes to a song is like, the hair on the back of your neck stands up.
What's a meme I recently saw on Facebook? Something about we're making inanimate objects sing is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely
Bonkers.
wild.
Yeah.
It is. It's wild. Yeah.
But it's at the same time, it's like what sets us apart as creatures on this planet. Like, birds, they have their song and their musical intuitions and all that other stuff, but they don't form groups and sing like bird songs in in key progressions and time. Like, the idea of music is just, it shouldn't exist, and I'm so glad it does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No better medicine.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about your relationship to music. Because I know a lot of people, they see that, like, for example, with me, music is something I rely on to convey emotion and to be a part of something. So, like, if I'm depressed or I'm down and out, I know what song to listen to sort of help get me out of that funk. What's your relationship with music in that regard?
You kind of said it well, yeah, in that it very much helps me if, I can be having a great day and it just gets made better by the right song, by a soundtrack, something like that. I will tell you, I'm one of those people, and I've come to find that not everybody has this. I don't know how many people have this. I don't know if you do. I don't remember what it's called. But you know how you're listening to a song and something happens within that song and you get goosebumps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called. There's actually a technical term for it. But not everybody gets it.
Interesting.
I get it. I get that all the time, and I love it. It's like a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
It's totally like a dopamine hit. It's almost like an addiction. But, if indeed it is an addiction, hey, there's a lot worse addictions out there.
It's one of the healthiest ones out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I discovered that when I was a teenager and I first heard Led Zeppelin's "It's Off Houses of the Holy," the Rain song. And I don't know exactly what it is about that song, but when I heard that song and I got the goosebumps on my arm, it just stirred something in me. I think it's all the layers of that particular song. It's like, wow, music does that to me. So I guess that's kind of my relationship. It kind of gives me a little dopamine hit.
I can relate to that in so many ways.
Yeah.
Like the last one for me was "I Forgive You" by Sia.
Not familiar, but
Holy
I'll
cow.
check it out.
Not only are her lyrics like hauntingly good,
Yeah.
the premise of the song is it's a song dedicated to her abuser, and saying that she forgives her abuser because her abuser did not know what he was doing.
Oh wow.
Haunting.
Oh wow.
Haunting. Yeah. And just like just me thinking of that song, just kind of like, ooh, because like,
yeah.
I love it when songs go deep,
Yeah.
because like it's just an open up into a different world almost.
Well, and for me, I think it hits a little different for me now that I'm an addict and an alcoholic in recovery, long-term recovery, and I don't give myself that head change from using substances anymore.
Yeah.
Music replaces that for me. I mean, there's a lot of things that replace that for me in very healthy ways. Music just happens to be one of them.
And it's one of those that's readily accessible without any sort of repercussions.
Yeah.
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 Did you find that transition into recovery with music difficult?
A
if you don't mind
little,
me asking?
not at all, not in the least. A little because, yeah, I mean, for many, many years, drugs, alcohol, and playing music went together. I have vague recollections of being on tour, very vague recollections of being on tour. Apparently, I had fun in 2002. Um, and that's kind of the way that it went with punk rock and roll. You think sex, drugs, rock and roll, that sort of thing. And yeah, I was kind of working towards becoming the living embodiment of that. I mean, I'm no Slash or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, I think he did it better.
Right. No one's going to
But
hold a candle to Keith Richards, right?
but yeah. God bless his 500-year-old soul. Okay. But yeah, once I had had enough, and it was time to let go of that. Yeah, a lot of what was really interesting with that was to see how quickly you find out that you had a lot of drinking buddies and not friends.
Yeah.
That was really interesting and little disheartening, but hey, I dealt with it.
Yeah.
That's life, and I mean, continuing playing music and playing in I mean places that serve alcohol. It's like it's a matter of just being in the right mindset and for me, it's not even really a thing. I mean, I'm 20 years away from it anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my pathway from addiction was a little interesting too because like I was addicted to painkillers for
Oh, yeah.
a little while.
Yeah.
And only because of the VA. You know, you go to the VA, you say you're in pain, and then all of a sudden 120 Vicodin show up at your door
Whee!
with no instructions on how much to take, no instructions on what to
Oh.
do. And so here's
Oh,
120
man.
Vicodin, have fun. Here's your 6 refills. We'll call you in a month and a half to check in on you.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah. And so it took a few years before I figured out like this is not healthy.
Yeah.
And you kind of rely on it as a crutch, if you will.
Yeah.
Because it sort of gets you through some of those anxiety riddled moments. But at the same time, it's so detrimental to your human being and your character.
Oh yeah.
Like it changes you when you're on that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, for me, I had absolutely no idea that it was just weird to me to find out that normal people don't put booze in their coffee first thing in the morning.
Right? Sorry.
You just damn near flipped over the table, Sean.
Well, but you're speaking truth, though. You're
Yes.
right. And like this is so true because it's like you don't realize it, and it's like
Oh,
when
yeah.
you do, like, oh wow, okay, yeah, I made the right decision.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. I mean, it was definitely a bit of a transition from being a sex, drugs, and rock and roll, sort of a musician to a rock and roll, and rock and roll.
Yeah, and
But it
and-
had to happen.
But and also good to know that you don't need that substance to be good on stage.
Right.
That's the huge like epiphany. Like you don't need it to perform. And that was like a huge lightning bolt or light bulb moment for me.
It's oh yeah. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, being loaded does not make me a better musician.
Yeah.
No, not
Yeah.
at all. In
Yeah.
fact, it's quite the obvious. Or
It's quite the
yeah,
opposite.
quite the opposite. Edit that out if you would, please.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's quite the opposite. And it's really far more fun to be able to remember what I did the night before and not be hungover. And really, I mean, my wife and I got married in 2005, and she's also a recovery person, and that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me was meeting my wife, falling in love, getting sober. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't really care what happens, out there. What I really care about is what happens, in my home, in my family relationships, my relationship with my wife and our son. And um, I can't do that blasted.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
won't do that blasted. Our son's never seen us loaded.
Yeah. Because they remember it, you
Hmm.
know? Like, I can't say the same for my relationship with my dad. He was loaded all the time, and it leaves a mark. Like,
Hmm.
and it's one of those things that lives with you like your entire life.
Hmm.
And so I really appreciate that you say that, because like that's a testament to your commitment towards your family and your kid.
Sure.
And it just makes for a much better human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so awesome. Do you find a problem though, like when people try to offer you drinks and stuff while you're on stage, or?
Not in the least. In fact, I've found that anytime I'm up at the bar, ordering myself a soda or something like that, and if somebody orders something that's particularly aromatic, like let's say Jägermeister or something like that, you and I both know, Jägermeister, you can smell that from a mile
A
away.
mile
That gets
away.
passed anywhere under my nose, I'm like, oh, geez, no. I used to drink that garbage.
I have that same reaction to anything cinnamon, like cinnamon liquor.
Okay, okay,
Same
yeah, yeah,
thing. No, thank you,
yuck,
not again.
yeah.
Hmm.
And okay, so I am gonna kind of back up just a little bit here and say, I mean, if somebody's a drinker, that's fine.
Oh,
That's
100%.
that's great.
A hundred
I'm
percent.
not gonna come up to somebody and big book bash them or something like that because they're drinking. That's just, that's great. I I went pro and I had to retire early. That's what I did.
100%. And I commend people that can have a drink or two drinks and call it a night.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
If you could do that, more power to you. But what? Why?
But you're right. Like but people should be allowed to do whatever they want to do to their bodies and in their lives.
Sure.
And they're not one way is going to work for other people, and I think that has to be okay too.
You bet.
Yeah.
100%.
So in terms of like bass riffs though, right? So
Okay.
like
Going back to base.
yeah, going back to playing bass.
Yes.
How do you like so when you have that change in counts along the way?
Uh-huh.
Like how do you keep track of that? Like if you have a complex song that's going from like a 7 count to an 8 count to a 4 count.
Oh, geez. I hate those kinds of songs.
I know. That's fair.
I don't know, man. My head would probably explode.
Yeah. Because I listen to like Tool and I'm like, how the hell do you keep that shit straight?
Yeah. I mean, most of the stuff that we play is more along the lines of, very standard, 4/4 time signatures, very, typical time signatures.
Yeah.
Sometimes it strays from that a little bit. I really like, Dream Theater.
Oh yeah, they're so
they're
good.
they are one of those bands that each one of those guys is a master of their craft, and in listening to that, it's like, yeah, you hear time signatures changing all over the place, and it mesmerizes me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also think to myself, man, that would drive me nuts trying to learn how to do that. But they've got the brains that work that way. I really don't. I mean, yeah, I can do fairly simple changes, but don't
I,
get too complicated on me.
at the same
Give me a
time
good
though,
groove,
at
man.
the same time though, I've seen you play and I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit.
Oh, well, thank you. I guess
Yeah.
I'll have to pay a little bit more attention to that then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuz like that it's one of those things where uh It's always interesting to me. Like there's this huge difference I've seen in bass players to where you have bass players that are extremely technical, but they're not like beat or I don't know how to say it. You can tell the bass players that are feel bass players and then bass players that are very precise and technical. And I always love the bass players that have that feel and go for like the flow of the live music
Mm-hmm.
because I've always been a firm believer that live music shouldn't be perfect. That
Mm-hmm.
live music
Right.
should have some idiosyncrasies, should have some pieces to it that aren't exactly like the original because it lends itself to a different kind of experience.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, okay, Bootsy Collins. Okay.
Yeah.
So Bootsy Collins, I saw a brief video of him. I don't know if it was in the 70s or the 80s. And oh man, that guy's just so cool. Love Bootsy. And he was just, he was on camera, not on stage or anything like that. He was off stage and he was telling somebody about how to get the funk. And, he was standing there with his bass. It was the one that's all star shaped and stuff. Man, that thing's so cool. It's wild. And he was just playing a root note. Bum, 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 That's the funk. And then when the feel just hits you, you could throw in your own little. It's like, man, that's cool. Gotta love it.
I love that. I love that.
And that's I think that's kind of the way I roll with it. I mean, I'm not technical. I know some scales, and I know my way around a fretboard. I don't like to get too technical with it. I like the funk. I like the groove. I like the throw in a little bit of added color every once in a while when it's appropriate.
At the same time, though, you want to embrace and sort of make room for whatever interpretation is needed.
Yeah. If somebody asks me to do a bass solo, I don't know what to do. Bass solo? What? No.
That's fair. Hmm.
Get Billy Sheehan.
Yeah. Or Timur Blakely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that guy. Whew.
Yep.
Hmm. I was listening to him practice the other day, and his ability to do like sliding scales and keeping percussion and all that, it's just like, how?
Hmm.
And it's just like, full disclosure, bass has always been something that's sort of like a nebulous for me because I have no rhythm. Like,
But you can admit it.
right. So, like, the idea
Don't
of,
got rhythm.
right. I can get away with singing and stuff like that. But, like, I remember trying to be a drummer and I could never get my feet and hands on different time.
Okay.
I could never do it.
Yeah.
I don't understand if people
Yeah.
can. Like, more power to them if they
Yeah.
can. Yeah. And so what was it? So like, as you were sort of like transitioning to bass in like these first bands, like, do you remember like the largest venue you performed in front of?
I've never had the pleasure of playing a really large venue. I mean, not even like the Roseland Theater up in Portland or
Yeah.
anything like that. It's always been smaller venues, and that's fine. I have no issues with that. Although I do remember when Catholic schoolgirls first started getting the ball rolling. We had some friends of ours down in Phoenix, Arizona. They were in a band called the Generics. Uh, just great group of guys. Great punk band down there, and they were, as far as localized bands go, they were the people that everybody in the Phoenix area knew was the Generics. So they invited us to come down to Arizona, and I was, geez, how old was I? I must have been like 19 years old or something like that. And the rest of the guys in the band, they were all a little older. They were all in their early 20s. So, I had, yeah, I had my buyers for booze. But yeah, so anyway, they asked us to come and play a couple of gigs down there with them, and we said sure. So yeah, we all packed up and got into a bus. Our drummer had a it was did we go in the VW bus down there? It was so long ago. I can't remember what vehicle it was, but anyway, we head down to Phoenix, and we've got this gig that we're playing. It's a warehouse party, and it's this great big warehouse with a stage built into it and full of people just blasted out of their minds, and the Generics great punk band and some other great punk bands playing down there, and then there's us. We had only a few handful of rehearsals, and we had about maybe 10 of our own songs that at the time were okay. I mean, we were just learning, but they weren't really all that great. So we get up there and we start playing, and we're just having a tough time. We've never played for a crowd like this, and they're all just kind of looking like, what is this crap? And so I don't remember who made this decision, but one of the guys in the band looked at the rest of us and we said, okay, play Johnny Be Good. And we started playing Johnny Be Good, and the crowd went nuts. It wasn't really all that good, but the
Yeah,
crowd went nuts because they recognized it, and it was like, okay, this is cool. Yeah, this is fun. We can do this.
I love that.
So that was it was a pretty big crowd. If you asked me to put a number on it, I couldn't tell you.
But that's such an awesome experience, though, to sort of get up there and do that sort of and see like the sea change of emotion in the crowd and how they're starting to vibe. That must have been really cool
Yeah,
experience.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. So in terms of venues like now, is so like because like I've seen uh, a wide spectrum of what's available to musicians when you show up to a venue.
Hmm.
Uh, so as you show up to a venue, what are some of the things that you're looking for as a musician that will help you with your performance?
Uh, Really, it's important to know up front from the venue owner or booking agent what to expect. Just for starters, I think it's real important, first of all, to know. I mean, okay, things like, is there a stage or are we playing on a floor? Okay. That's not quite as important as what kind of gear do you have for us to
Yeah.
play on as far as PA gear. Some venues have great PA gear set up. Some have absolutely none, and they expect you to bring your own. So if a venue has gear that we're going to be playing on, it's always good for us to know what are we going to be playing through, and that way we'll know, hey, is this going to be sufficient for us, or are we going to have to maybe pool some of our own resources and bring some of our own gear to add to it? Because when if possible, we like to be able to put on a good show, and we like for the sound quality to be there.
Because that's so important to a successful show as well.
Hmm.
And like, have there ever been times where you because like I would imagine in a perfect world you have the ability to visit the venue beforehand to sort of get a layout of the
Hmm.
land. Has there ever been a time where you didn't do that and you showed up and were kind of like surprised by like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, there's been plenty of times where we didn't scout it out, and we just went there to the venue, and their gear was a couple of PA mains and a little six channel mixing board or something like that. No floor monitors or anything like that,
Oh,
and you just sometimes you got to roll with what you got, and it's okay.
please, venues, invest in floor monitors.
Yeah.
Please.
Some venues are geared towards live music,
Yeah.
and others aren't geared towards it, and it's just kind of an afterthought.
Yeah. And I've seen the difference. Like, have you ever been to the Mekong Bistro
No,
in
where's that?
Portland?
No.
So the Mekong Bistro was built with musicians in mind. So
Nice.
when you get to that stage, not only is it a full stage that can accommodate a 10-piece band,
Okay.
it has all of the stuff already hardwired. So all you have to do is bring your instrument and play.
Oh, sweet.
And it's one of those rare venues too where he doesn't charge you to play. And so it's one of those cool places. And so I've seen that, and then I've also seen places where like it's a restaurant and they're having live music, and then I've showed up and it's just one speaker on a stand in the corner of the outside lot.
Hmm.
And like, how?
Right. Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's got to be kind of frustrating at
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. So to me, yeah, it's very important. Back when I was, playing in, hardcore pop bands and stuff like that, that that was not quite as important. It was, because we're just playing fast and loud and raw, and we didn't care, and it was great. If we just had a couple of PA mains and had to roll with that, that's great. We just turn up our amplifiers as loud as we could, and that's great.
Yeah.
Um, not not with what I'm doing today. Not quite so much. We could roll with it if we had to.
Yeah, but then you miss out on so much because like between yourself on bass and between like Jim and Jesse and with Ish on the lyrics, you need that sort of additional to make sure that everybody has this equal sound.
Yeah, yeah, that everybody's able to hear each other on stage, and we've been talking about moving to in-ear monitors.
Oh, how cool is that?
I have never done anything like that before. I think the rest of the guys have.
Uh-huh.
I never have, so it'll be a new one to me. So that'll be really, really interesting to see how that pans out. I don't know when we're going to do it, but one of these days I think we're going to move towards it.
That's one of those things that I've always wanted to experience.
Yeah.
What an in-ear monitor sounds like.
Hmm.
I've never had the pleasure. And I hear it's amazing,
Hmm.
but then you hear from some people like, I don't want it at all.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm curious. I'm curious. You'll have to let me know how that goes.
Right. Well, and it's kind of like click tracks when you're recording and people use click tracks. I have never liked using click tracks. Could I use a click track? Yeah. Would I prefer not to? Yeah, I'd prefer not to because I prefer more of a natural flow. That's just me.
I think the click would be distracting for me too. Because like sometimes you need that flow between every member of the band.
Hmm.
And it almost seems too performative if they're trying to play to a strict click sort of track, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've been in loads of studio sessions with my bands, and I don't think any of us have ever done click tracks.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I would get totally distracted.
Yeah.
But in terms of like songs that you like to play, do you have one in particular where you like, I love playing this one every single time and I could play it like 40 million times in a row?
Oh, geez, man. Yeah. I've really been enjoying playing Thin Lizzy, Boys Are Back in Town. That is just such a banger of a song in the first place. And it's rather bass intensive in parts. That's one of the things I've been enjoying about, doing a lot of covers in the Raven Kings, and we're moving towards. I mean, we have lots of original songs,
I
and
can't
we're
wait.
moving towards having more of them. But we do a lot of cover songs, and I've been really enjoying delving into that world because it pushes me to learn stuff that is maybe outside my comfort zone, and Boys Are Back in Town was one of them.
Yeah.
And I learned it, and I love playing that one. Then I also enjoy, some of the really laid back stuff that's more of stay in the pocket groove sort of thing, like Hot Chocolate's "Everyone's a Winner."
I love that song.
That one's a lot of fun to play, and I can just kind of hang back and just groove and just enjoy it.
And how did you get into the Raven Kings to begin with? Did you like have to do this big audition and all this stuff?
No, no, we kind of fell into place. It was, yeah.
Fascinating.
So well, okay. It didn't all stem from open mic jam sessions, but most of it did. So I was between bands and I was going to jam sessions, and you probably remember the musician support group.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so musician support group, their first jam session before it moved over to the South Lib was at the West Side Station. So I thought I'd check it out, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go over to the musician support group and go to the West Side Station and do a little jamming, and I'm there just they're setting up and getting ready to go, and all of a sudden I see Jesse. So Jesse and I, we go way back. We've known each other since we were, teenagers. We played in a punk band together called Mange, with my brother on drums, and I was on rhythm guitar, and Jesse was lead guitar and vocal. Was he vocals? No, Scott Radke was vocals. Well, anyway, at any rate, so we've been friends through thick and thin together, and we kind of lost communication with one another for a long time until that day. I'm like, oh, wow, that's Jesse DeVille up there. Oh, very cool. I get to jam with Jesse. I walked up and gave him a big old hug, and we jammed a couple of songs, and it went pretty well. And we were talking after the jam session, and we're like, hey, we ought to, see what we can do as far as, maybe getting a band together, find a drummer, and try to do some kind of blues based rock. It's like, yeah, that sounds great. That'd
Yeah.
be a lot of fun. So we found Tony Mata from Moonlit Madness, and yeah, he joined up with us for a while, and that was fun. We played a couple of gigs with him, and Tony's a great guy, great drummer, but he decided he ultimately wanted to focus on Moonlit Madness, which I totally get. So James came in to fill his spot for a little while, and he became more of he became a permanent member, and he came about because I didn't really know James much at that point, but I know Jesse and him had worked together in a couple of other projects, and so that's how he came about. And gosh, so Ish Phoenix, she came into the fold after, gosh, what was it? I remember me and so James and I were at a jam, and we were just kind of hanging, listening to music, and Ish comes up and she starts singing some blues numbers with the band that's playing. We didn't know her, but we're both looking at each other, going, "Man, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
Love to have a singer like her in the band." But and then we started talking to her afterwards, and I mean, we just basically were just saying, hey, you're great, and we're doing the Raven Kings and so on and so forth, and then we all kind of got together at it was down at the South Lib, and we all got the chance, me, James, Jesse, and our friend Jim Tucker and Ish, we all got called up onto the stage to play some songs, and we played a few songs, and a few of them are still on, I think, on my Facebook page and probably on the Raven Kings Facebook page. And it just clicked so well together. And yeah, after that, we played those songs, got off the stage, and we're like, man, the chemistry is really there. The chemistry is really there. And then after that point, it really didn't quite materialize yet. And then we invited Ish to come in and start singing with us. And then one day we're at practice, and somebody got this great idea. Hey, let's call Jim Tucker. see if he wants to jam with us just for yucks and chuckles. And so, yeah, Jesse gets on the phone with Jim, and he says, Jim, you want to come up? We're rehearsing right now. You want to come up and just kind of jam? And up comes Jim. He's like, yeah, I want to come up. And he shows up an hour later with his guitar, and we're jamming, and it's just sounding great. And Jesse looks at Jim, and he says, Jim, are you in? Jim looks at all of us and says, yeah, I'm in.
I love that.
So how
And
did
a band
I get
was
into
born.
so how did I get into the Raven Kings? Not so much that. How did the Raven Kings
Come together.
come together and form?
And I have to say, folks, if you have not had a chance to check out the Raven Kings live, you need to do it. And if you have the
Thanks,
ability
man.
to come to like a jam session at the West Side Station, you need to do it. Because you all, like, your shows are awesome. I love, like, the choices that you all make for the songs that you have on your set list. Because it's one of those, it's like a feel good concert because like all of the songs you play, oh, I know that, that's awesome, I know, oh, that's awesome. And so it's like a journey of like, you would think it would be like one sort of narrow scope, but you all have such a wide array of different genres in the music that you play on stage.
We yeah, and we try to keep it to kind of a I mean our whole vision at first, and it still is. I mean, our vision really is kind of a blues-based rock.
Yeah.
It is really what our vision is. But you know what? Sometimes there's some room for some really cool stuff. Some funk, throw some funk in there, throw some classic rock in there. Throw some Prince in there.
Oh, I love it when you all do Prince.
Yeah, right on. Right
Yeah.
on. That's fun. I really love doing Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that guy was I mean, so I got to tell you, okay, Prince is the only guy that I can think of that can steal your girlfriend while wearing stiletto heels and you wouldn't feel bad about it. You'd be like, "Ah, dude, that's Prince."
I get it.
I get it.
I get it. I got it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah. What it really boils down to me is, when it comes down to blues-based rock, all rock is really based in blues.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then you all are working on new material, right?
we are.
And so do you have a time frame as to when that might be out and about?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Just working on it. We're working on it.
So we've been at this for over an hour.
Have we?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like it.
I know, right?
What time is it? I've got an appointment I have to get to. I ain't dressed like this for nothing.
So I just wanted to close by asking, like, how can people go to follow your band and follow you?
So yeah, in fact, well, let me look it up really quick because I can't remember the actual name of it. So yeah, it is at 6:48.
Yeah.
Wow, we've been at it, and it only feels like we've been talking for 20 minutes.
I get that all the time.
Hope your listeners aren't falling asleep. Okay, so yeah, Facebook. I know, boomer.
Hey, don't hate. I'm primarily Facebook too, but I guess you're right, Boomer.
So it's what is it? Just Facebook slash the Raven Kings. Yeah, Facebook slash the Raven Kings. Yeah. And, yeah, so there are actually a couple of the Raven Kings. There's another one that I discovered shortly after we got together. They're in Kingdom somewhere, and like a kind of a Celtic rock sort of a thing. But they're way over on the other side of the pond, so
I don't think it's going to be an issue.
I don't think we'll ever run into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This
Thank
has
you.
been a great one. And
Thank you.
I'll end the show like I always end the show, people. Be kind. Like,
For
we
sure.
are all on this planet together. We share the same space. And just this world would be a better place if we were just kind to each other.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.